Hello everyone, you're welcome to another tutorial on my channel. In today's video, I'll be going about the drafting and the cutting of this bustier blouse with a stylish neckline. This tutorial is detailed and beginner friendly, so if this is what you like to see, keep watching. Let's get into the video. I will be drafting the front pattern of this blouse before the back, and the first thing to do is to draw your starting or the shoulder line. From there, I'll take my vertical measurements. The first is my bust point line 9.5 inches, my under bust 13.5, my waistline 16 inches, and the full length of this blouse 24 inches. Then I'll draw straight lines across the point. I will label the lines. This is the bust line, the under bust line, the waistline, and the blouse length. The next thing to do is to measure the neckline. The width is 3 inches. I'm not measuring the depth for now. Then I'll measure my shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5 inches. From that point, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. From that shoulder slope, I will measure my armhole depth. To get your armhole depth, you divide your bust circumference by 6, then you add 1.5 inches to whatever measurement you get. Now this is the chest line. Next, you create the armhole curve. To do that, you place your tape on the chest line, then you divide your bust circumference into 4, and on the armhole line you get the midpoint. From that midpoint you go in by ½ inch, then you connect the point to create your curve. The next thing to do is to determine your neck depth. For me, I want my neckline deep by 6 inches. So go ahead and determine how deep you want your neckline to be. And on the bust line, you measure half of your nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 3.5 inches. I will measure the same thing all the way to the last line. Then I will connect the point into a straight line. The next thing to do is to mark the same half of your nipple to nipple measurement here, but then you will add 0.5 inch to it, which is 4 inches on my side. Then I will connect the point to the bust line. Next thing to do is to take the dart measurement, which will be done on the under bust line. The width is 1.5 inches, ½ inch towards the center and 1 inch towards the side. I will measure the same thing on the other lines and connect the point into straight lines. Then from the bust line, you will come down by 1 inch and you connect that point to the dart leg with a curve. I will retrace these lines with my marker. Now let's tighten the overbust. To do that, I will come to the upper chest line, then I'll divide 1.5 inches into 2, which is 0.75. I will mark 0.75 on both sides of the line, then connect the point back to the bust point line like so. Alright guys, let's take the round measurement. I already measured my bust circumference divided by 4. I will just replace the dart measurements here. And on the waistline, I will measure my waist circumference divided by 4 and also replace the 1.5 inches dart measurement. At the blouse length, I will measure my hip circumference divided by 4 and also replace the dart measurement. Then I will connect the points together. Now for the shape at the hem of the blouse, I will go up from the blouse length by 3 inches. Now you can join your bustier before creating this shape, okay? Then I'll place my French curve this way and connect the point towards the center. So guys, a closer look at the style we are trying to recreate. I see that there's this extension, a cuffy extension at the side. So for that, I will come out by 1.5 inches, then I will connect the point, and I will also connect the point to the waistline this way. For the neck depth, I will add additional 1 inch and create a sweetheart neckline. But if the depth is too much for you, go ahead and adjust the measurement, okay? Here, I'm trying to check if my dart's leg are of the same length. I will retrace the neck depth with my marker and go ahead to measure the side dart. For the side dart, I will come down from the bust line by 1 inch, then connect the point into the bust point this way. So guys, the overbust dart, waist dart, as well as the side dart are no longer part of the pattern. I'm going to cut them off. And this is all for the drafting of the front pattern. I will cut it out now. For the side dart, I will cut through this line, then close the dart and tape it down this way. After closing the dart, there might be a little difference between the line. Just align it and continue cutting. Here we have the center front, the side front and the yoke. I didn't remember to cut the shoulder part of the yoke. The next thing to do now is to set the center and the side front aside and work on the yoke. I will cut out double of this yoke on another pattern paper, but this time each of the pattern paper will be on fold. After cutting out the yoke on fold, this is what I have, and I'm going to work on it one after the other. A closer look at the yoke of the blouse, you will discover that there's a skein net underneath the chantilly lace, and this will represent that skein net. So I'm going to cut out a normal neckline there. Remember, our width is 3 inches. You can make it wider than that if you want, okay? And the depth will be 3 inches as well. So I'll connect the point to form a round neckline. And this is what your net should look like after cutting it out. The second yoke will represent the chantilly lace. Now to cut out the shape, I'll first remark the neck width. Then at the base side of the armhole, I will mark 1 inch and connect the point to this neck width. I will also connect the second neck width there. Then I will cut it out. And this is what the lace will look like after cutting. Now I will place it on each other to show us what it will look like. What I did was to cut out the pattern paper for the skein net in another color so that when I place it on each other, you will see the difference. This is how the net will come out under the chantilly lace, and at the neck of the lace there's selvage on both sides. So guys, this is what you will have for your blouse front yoke, and this is all for the front pattern. I will go ahead now to cut the back pattern. For the back pattern, I already draw and label my vertical lines. This is the starting line, the bust line, which is not entirely necessary, the waistline, and the blouse length. Because I want the back of this blouse to be a corset lacing, I didn't add zipper allowance, but if you want zipper added to yours, go ahead and add zipper allowance to your pattern paper or your main fabric. Now my bust line is still the same 9.5 inches I used at the front, but the waistline is 1 inch shorter, and this is because of the side dart. So instead of measuring 16 inches, I measured 15 inches, which also affected the blouse length. Instead of it to be 24 inches, it is 23 inches. The next thing to do is to take the neck measurements. The width still remains 3 inches and the depth is 1.5. I will measure half of my shoulder measurement, and from that point come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, and from the shoulder slope I'll measure my armhole depth just like I did the front. For the armhole curve, we still need to divide our bust circumference into 4, get the midpoint on the armhole line, but we need not go in by ½ inch like we did the front, we just connect the points together. On the bust line, I will take half of my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5 inches. Measure the same thing on the chest line as well as the blouse length, then connect the points together. For my dart, I will measure it on the waistline and the width is 1 inch, which is ½ inch on both sides of the straight line. From the bust line, I will come down by 1 inch, and from the blouse length line, I will go up by 2 inches. Then I will connect my darts. Now let's take the round measurement. I already measured my bust circumference divided by 4, and there's no dart to replace. So on the waistline, I will measure my waist circumference divided by 4, replace the 1 inch dart measurement, and on the blouse length line, I will measure my hip circumference divided by 4, no dart to replace here as well. Then I'll connect the points together. Just like I extended the side front, I will do the same here. For the back yoke, there's going to be an opening, so from the neck depth, I'll come down by 1 inch. This is where you place your hook and eye or press button. And for the depth of the yoke, you can maintain this chest line, but for me, I'll go up from the chest line by 1 inch. Then I'll place my French curve this way and create a curve back to the chest line. Then I will connect this 1 inch point to the nipple line with a curve to create the opening. And this is a representation of your button or hook and eye. Now for the corset lacing, I will go in by 1 inch. This actually depends on how snatched you want your corset to be. You can use 1.5 inches or 2 inches, okay? Then I will connect the points together. And this part will be cut off. Usually when I make corsets, I do place boning before the eyelet and sometimes after the eyelet. That way the eyelet will be in the middle. So I'll draw a straight line here to indicate the boning, and then I'll make little dots to represent the eyelet. So guys, this is all for the drafting of this back pattern. I will retrace the necessary parts with my marker and go ahead to cut it out. Here is the yoke, the center back and the side back. This arrow indicates which side faces which. So guys, I'll set this aside to work on the sleeve. For the sleeve, I already drafted a basic sleeve and the length is 24 inches, that is the length to my wrist, but I added extra 2.5 inches, and this is because the sleeve did not stop at the wrist, it actually extended to the palm. That's why I added the extra 2.5 inches. I am also going to add extra measurements to my round wrist. This is because the sleeve is kind of wide at that side. So I'll add extra 1.5 inches, then connect the points to this line. And this is all for the sleeve. I will cut it out now. So guys, when transferring your pattern to your fabric, the center front should be on a folded edge, while the side front should be on fold of 2, and sewing allowance should be added to all the parts, the hem, the upper part, the bustier part, and all. For the yoke, the skin net pattern should also be cut on a folded edge, while the chantilly pattern should be cut separately because the shape are different, and sewing allowance should also be added to all the side. Each of the back patterns should also be cut on a fold of 2, and sewing allowance should be added to all the side as well. Your sleeve should also be placed on a folded edge, and you are cutting double of it, and make sure to add sewing allowance if you didn't cut directly on your fabric. And with that, we've come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching. If you find this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any question, leave it in the comments. I'll give a response. If you are yet to subscribe to my channel, kindly subscribe. I'll see you in my next one.